Hey guys, welcome to the 12.4 pre-algebra video where we're going to be talking about translations, okay? So what is a translation? Well, let's get into that. All right, so a translation is a transformation in which each point of a figure actually moves the same distance in the same direction. So I'll bring this photo down that was up there earlier. And what we see is that this red triangle here became the blue triangle, or the blue became the red. But either way, each and every single point there, ABC and ABC, moved the same distance and in the same direction. And so we're going to learn to describe that and then learn to calculate that. So when we describe and when we calculate, we're always going to talk about a change in left or right, okay, terms first, which is also going to be talking about terms of the x-coordinate, but we're going to stick with left or right. So let's take point A, okay? Point A there and point A there. So let's describe the change from, let's call this, the red was number 1, and then it became triangle number 2. So it started up here. So what happened to A to move from there to there in terms of going left or right? Well, we say it went 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right. Okay, so the first thing we would say is 4 units to the right. Okay, and then what we do is we talk about the movement in terms of moving vertically, up or down. Okay, so currently we are right there, and so then how far down did we go? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so what we would say is that it then moved 5 units down, okay, 5 units down. So now what we're going to do, though, that we've talked about it in terms of words, we're going to talk about in terms of x, which I already had written there, and y, okay, change of x and the change in y, okay. So as we look at this figure, let's talk about point A again. We're just going to stick on point A. So right there and point A right there, okay. So initially in red, right, point A was at what location? Well, if this is 0, 0, it was left 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4. So it was at the point -1, +4. Again, we're talking about that point right there. But then it moved, right? And it moved down here. So we describe that change in this kind of format. So I'm going to rewrite the coordinates, okay, -1, and then I'm going to leave some space, comma, 4, and then I'm going to leave some more space, okay? So this -1, let's describe the change in terms of x, which is left or right. And we already said that it went 4 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this -1, and I'm going to add in a +4, okay? And then how did it change in terms of going up or down? Well, it was here, now it's here. So it went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which matches what we had over here when we described in words, 5 units down. So I'm going to do 4, and then I'm going to add in a -5. And so that actually helps us get our new point, which is, well, what's -1 + 4? It's 3. What's 4 minus 5? It's -1. So point A should be at the point 3, -1 now in the new, and I should do this in blue, in the blue figure. So let's check. Here's point A. It's at 1, 2, 3, down 1, 3, -1. And there you go. So that's translations. So why don't you take a second, and I want you to try this one on your own. Pause the video and then play it when you're done. All right, so here you go. So I want you to describe the translation of this figure in words, and then I want you to describe the translation using that coordinate notation, which again was something, and then the point, and then what happens to it, comma, the next coordinate, and what happens to it. So take a second and do that. See how you do, and then we'll keep on moving. Okay, so if I'm going to describe the translation in words, remember I'm concerned with left or right first and then up or down. So I'm just going to pick one point. So I'm going to use E, okay? So there's E, and we'll call this figure number 1, and then 2. Okay, so how does E in 1 become E in 2? Well, again, I'm concerned with left or right first, so I'm going to go, well, it's got to lie down right here on this one, on 1, so it goes from, so 1, 2, 3 to the right, right? So let's go ahead and we can say 3 units to the right. And then what's going to come next? Well, the change up vertically. So let's see. It was here, now it's there. So it went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 units up, or up 6 units, I suppose I should say, but either way. Okay, so that's in words. Now, coordinate notation, let's think about, okay, for example, point E, okay, using coordinate notation. Point E in figure 1 was the point -2, -2, okay? But what happened to it to become up here? Well, again, we said the x-coordinate went left or right. Well, it changed 3 units to the right, 1, 2, 3. So we actually add 3. And then this y-coordinate, well, it went up 6 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to add 6. And when I do that, okay, so that's the change in coordinate notation. And when I actually add that, -2 plus 3 is 1, -2 plus 6 is 4. That should be the coordinates of my new point E, which is right here. So let's check. Is it 1, 4? Well, I go over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, and sure enough, there we go. So what's cool is we can take our translations from this point, or point E, to that point E, and apply it around to the other points to check if it's a perfect translation. So for example, let's look at point G there and point G. So the original point G in figure number 1, his coordinates were at over 2, down 4. So 2, -4, right? So let's see if this old G translates to the new G using the same translation that we calculated up there. So what we need to do is take this 2, I'm going to kind of rewrite this point with a little more space. And here we added 3. So let's take this 2 and add 3 to him, which will get us 5. Okay, and here to the y-coordinate we added 6. So let's add 6 to him as well. And that's going to put us at -4 plus 6 is 2. So this was the old G, or G, the G number 1, we'll say, from G figure 1. This should be the coordinates of G on figure 2 right there. So over 5, up 2, let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. Up 1, 2. That's also good. Okay. And what we could do is we could check point F, points F, and points H, and we would see that they all translate using add 3 to the x, add 6 to the y. All right, so one more. I want you guys to pause the video and try this on your own. I want you to use coordinate notation to describe the translation from figure 1 to figure 2. So take a second and try that, and then see how you do. Okay, so again, we're going from figure 1 to figure 2. So the coordinates of figure 1, let's figure that out first. Well, figure 1, and let's talk about just A, okay? Well, he is at -5, +1. But what happens to him to become figure 2? Well, let's see. Left to right, which is what we work with first, right? The x-coordinate, it moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So it adds 6, okay? And then let's talk about A. How much does it go up and down to become here? Well, it doesn't, right? Actually, A lies on the same kind of grid line here, over here, as it did there. So we actually can just say add 0. Okay, that's possible. So the new A is actually -5 plus 6 is 1, and 1 plus 0 is 1. So it should be at 1, 1 if we look at him. And if we check, yep, over 1, up 1. There we go. All right, and then you could do the same thing for B. All right, guys, that's all I have for you on translations. Look forward to seeing you in class.